Either I'm cosplaying a very much so wrinkled April O'Neil, or I am reviewing an anime. Take your pick. Hey everybody! So, I've talked about Tokyo Mew Mew and Mew Mew Power like 3 billion times, haven't I? Actually, I think it's more than that, but I never actually explained it to you. So I'm going to actually review it to you now in all of its beautiful glory, purple prose. Let's just get into this. So, let's talk about characters, my favorite thing when it comes to anime. And our first character is Ichigo, the pink, the leader, the strawberry dessert personification, or the endangered type of wild cats. I'm not quite sure, and I will talk about the system as soon as I'm done talking about the characters. It's very confusing. But Ichigo is lazy. She doesn't like getting out of bed on time and things like that, but she's also a heart full of gold, and she is a typical anime girl. Very innocent, and she's actually really boring, guys. In fact, the characters I'm about to talk about now are far more interesting than Ichigo herself. Even though she's supposed to be the leader, she doesn't get almost any character development at all, aside from the fact, will she get with Meomoa? Will she not? I cannot pronounce the love interest's name. Moving on. Next, we actually have Mint. Now, Mint gets a lot of character development, even though she is the snotty Heimdare. Now, Heimdares are often shown in anime, but not so much in these magical girl animes. Now, Heimdare is a princess-like girl who is more along the lines of tsundere, except a lot more snooty, not because she's simply snooty, more because she's rich. So, we quickly learn things about her. She's far more interesting than Ichigo. We learn that she has a brother, she was close to him, but now they're no longer close, half the reason why she's snooty. We also learn that she almost lives alone, that all she has left is her grandmother. We learn so many different things about her, her fears, her likes, her wants, her dreams, that in all honesty, I'd rather see her as the main character. Oh, and she represents mint or birds. I said I would explain it later. Next on our list, we actually have Lettuce. Yes, that's her name. She represents lettuce or beluga whales. Take your pick. Now, Lettuce, once again, gets a lot of character development. At first, we think she's this super shy girl who doesn't like talking much and is super smart. But as things go on, she has to learn to mature. She has to learn to get over her fear. She gets character development. And also her locket, which is really strange. It gives her the ability to not only transform, but gives her better eyes. I mean, in the beginning, she actually wears glasses, and then she doesn't when she transforms. It's really strange. I want that ability so bad. Okay, next we have Pudding. Now, Pudding either represents pudding or orangutans. Once again, take your pick. She is the token Lolita, and oftentimes she's pranks. She's a street performer. She does all these different types of things to make you think she's hyper and rambunctious, but she gets a lot of character development. And we learn that she is the sole provider for her family of 4 siblings, and she takes care of them on her own because her mother died. Once again, character development. Ichigo, where happened to your character development? Next up, and finally, thank God, we have Zankuro. Now, Zankuro means pomegranate in Japanese, so either she represents pomegranates or she represents wolves. Once again, take your pick. Now, Zankuro is our token tsundere. Unlike Heimdare, tsunderes, it doesn't matter how much character development they get, they will be mean, cruel, and snooty to you. In a cute way. So, originally she was a pop star, and she doesn't like the fact that she has to work at the headquarters called Mew Cafe. But what's so interesting about her is not only the fact that she gets the most character development, because first she starts out as evil. She wants to work alone, but she decides she's going to work with the bad guys, which we will get into the plot in a minute. And she quickly defects, but still she gets character development because we learn that she can be nice. She can actually help people. She can do this, she can do that. she's actually a good human being on the inside. So the more you get into this anime, the more you realize the characters aren't really one-dimensional like you thought they would for a magical girl series. So let's move on to our outside characters who don't have much of a purpose. There is Rio. Now, Rio is said to be a high school student, but if you looked at him, you know that cannot be the case. He has to be like 20-something years old. But no, he's actually a high school student with apparently an IQ of 180. And he created the lockets, he created the Mew powers, he is looking up Blue Aqua, which is like the plot device of the century, and help the girls on their way to fight the aliens who are trying to take over the world because their own world, apparently they used up all the resources and decided to do what most people do. Colonize other worlds, enslave the many, many natives, and kill them off one at a time with blankets filled with disease. Very simple, guys. And finally, we also have Keiichiro, but he's not very interesting. I feel like he's the guy who's supposed to be the really pretty guy who also gives some character development to Rio. That's about it. Now let's move on. I talked a little bit about the plot, about Blue Aqua and stuff like that, but let me explain more about exactly what the heck is going on with the two different themes. Now, like I said in my anime classroom episode, most times magical girl anime had these themes. And these themes can range from planets and stuff like that. However, this magical girl anime has two themes. Either A, it has the theme where you have these endangered species, and it's supposed to be all about how we should take care of our Earth before it's too late. Or B, we have the really pretty, free purple prose approach, where it's desserts. Now, I'm not sure what happened with the manga writer now, because this was first a manga, and then it became an anime. But just like the plot, this seemed to go on two different paths. Now, the plot is aliens. They came to take over the world via colonialism and blah, 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 blah. However, it soon goes down that the big bad really destroyed their world or something like that. See, I'm telling you, it bridges off, and it wants to be two different things. It either wants to be a thing where it tells us take care of our world, or it wants to be an actual magical girl anime. It's not quite sure. You could have done it. You could have just glued it all together. Not very hard. And obviously, you see, I have issues with the plot. Now, our character, the main first bad guy character, Kishu. I liked Kishu. He was the first bad guy we actually saw. He came in, and the very first time we see him, he's totally yandere, but the first time we see him, he steals Ichigo's first kiss. She's like, oh my gosh, you stole my first kiss. And he's like, yep, sure did. Bye. It was just so much fun how every single time something happened, he pushed at her, trying to take her away, but also at the same time trying to kill her. It was just so much fun to watch. But once again, we have that diverging thing they like to do in this anime, where instead of just having the formula that worked, it was so fun. You could have sat there and evolved Ichigo's character and made her fall for Kishu, or you could have had Kishu evolve and see, oh, it's never going to work out, kill her. But no, it doesn't work that way. They take away Kishu for like 10 episodes and bring in these two other characters, and guys, they are just so boring. It's like a token Shota who's really boring and is kind of like pudding, and then a token tsundere guy who is like Zankuro. It was boring. I didn't want it. Then we learn a lot, like how boring, dull, and uninteresting love interest is actually the main bad guy, even though he has his own magical girl, boy, transformation. No, really, he looks like a girl. So, that is actually my whole issue with this anime, if you haven't figured it out yet. It keeps diverging from the original thing we think it's going to be, but not in a good way at all. I found it so tedious to watch. After about 25 episodes in, it became tedious to watch. Once they introduced Blue Aqua and the fact that it wasn't really these sympathetic aliens, it was actually a bad guy. It didn't do it for me, is what I'm saying. Now let's talk about some redeeming factors, like music. I didn't like the music much, and the music wasn't much to talk about, but I guess that's just what 2006 was, the season when anime wasn't much to talk about.
Look around. There are plenty of things this world could do without. Immorality, sin, crime. It's time for a change. Now, the music for this anime was very,
very blah. In all honesty, I could sit there and find another soundtrack, put it over Tokyo Mew Mew, and it'd be far more interesting. I didn't like the intro, English or Japanese, and the Japanese outro is very cute. In fact, that was my intro for this episode. So, yes, I liked the outro. That was about it. The rest of the music, it could just sit there all day long, and I would not remember it existed. So let's take our time now to talk about animation. The transformation sequences were beautifully done. Each and every single time they came up, I loved watching them, and I would watch them over and over again. In fact, I've been using them for clips all about about magical girls, because they're just so lovely done. The rest of the anime, though, it kind of falls flat on animation. But once again, considering the transformation sequences basically make up these magical girl animes, I can forgive it for that. Okay, since I kind of like the characters, what about their voices? I like the Japanese voices. I grew up on the English voices, and they did a very good job on that. All the characters sound like how I expected they should sound in English, especially when I grew up later on. I watched the Japanese version, I watched the English version again. English, you did an amazing job. All the characters sounded perfect, except for Kishu. Kishu sounded ridiculous, almost female. But it was still awesome, because he sounded so sassy. I loved it so much. But the Japanese voices, in all honesty, I didn't like it as much. Probably because of my nostalgia of growing up on the English version. But as far as quality goes, they did a good job. All the male characters, I wish they would have sounded a little more male. But aside from that, they did a very good job. I especially loved Ichigo's voice. Her childlike voice was just so freaking adorable all the time. Even though she was still boring as a character, even in the Japanese version. So if I had to rate this anime, what would I rate it as? Wrinkled shirt. Because it is that good. Bad. Depends on what you see as good or bad. If you like wrinkled shirts, then this would be a good anime. If you don't like wrinkled shirts, then this would be a bad anime. It's really up to interpretation. I loved it because of the nostalgia. A lot of people, if you see it as what it ought to be, then you're probably not going to enjoy it nearly as much as you could. I'm not sure about the manga it's based off of, because I never really read the manga. I read the first 2 chapters of the manga, and that was about it. But anyway, so that was my take on Tokyo Mew Mew. Mew Mew Power for English people. What did you guys think about it? Was it good? Was it bad? Do you like my wrinkled shirt? If you did, then click the like button below. And if you have any thoughts on this anime, then tell me in the comment section. And also, tell me what I should do next. Should I review an anime? Should I do a theory? Should I do another rant? I did a lot of rants. Or should I do another anime classroom episode? Let me know in the comment section. And so you know I sat there, kept my promise. Then please click the subscribe button below. That way everything gets all up in your mailbox. And also follow me on Twitter. I use that more than Facebook actually, because I don't like going into Facebook. I have no friends. But, sorry about that rant, but seriously, if you want to know what I'm up to, what my schedule is going to be, then follow me on Twitter, Luca Michiela, Luca Michiela, because that's actually my real name, believe it or not. Just follow me there. I'm usually on there. So yeah, I'm going to stop ranting now. Bye!